Craig, we knew from talking about going into Fort Wayne that the defending the three-point line was going to be a key, and right away they came out and they hit a couple in that first 3.5 minutes and helped them get out to that 9-point lead. But would you have ever thought they'd hit just one more the rest of the game?
No, quite frankly.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. I thought it was a bit of a slow start, not because we weren't playing hard or competing well or anything like that. It was one of those deals, and I think we scored 2 points the first roughly 6.5, 7 minutes, something like that. But we just hung in there, and then we finally made a couple shots. And I remember going into, I think it was a 12-minute media timeout, just under that or whatever, and it was 15-9, and I just said to the guys, I mean, can you believe we're only down 6? Like, we're only down 6, and honestly, we just couldn't, not that we were playing awful on offense, we just couldn't buy a basket. I mean, we just couldn't make one, but I'll tell you, Jeff, like we talked about last week, the way they shoot threes and the way they can just put them on you, I mean, there's a reason they blew Indiana out of the gym and amongst other teams, and so for us to, they shoot over 33, right at about 33s a game, and they're making over 10, 10.5, 11 threes a game, and to hold them to 15% and 3 for 20, I mean, you're doing something right.
And then once the offense did finally click, Tyler Peterson just had a run there during that first half.
He did, and that I thought him and Brandon Armstrong, I thought Tyler Peterson and Brandon Armstrong really sparked us. Tyler went on a 9-0 run by himself when we just were really struggling to get anything, and then Brandon went on, I believe it was a 7-0 run by himself, and so those two are two talented sophomores. They're growing day by day, and especially now, with Hurst out of the lineup, those two are going to have to be players for us, and so and they're good. They're talented guys, and they can do a lot of things, and so it was really exciting. Now, after the North Dakota State game, you look back and, you think about a lot of different things, and for about 4 or 5 days, I mean, it was pretty gut-wrenching to just, you're sick to your stomach, you're just, okay, what do we need to do? You lose kind of a heart and soul kind of guy that makes all these tough guy plays, and it's a next man up mentality, but it's also like who can help us more, who can contribute, and certainly Tyler's got to keep playing better, and Brandon does, but then we went to our bench a little bit deeper. I thought Joshua Doss was really good for us. I believe he played 9 minutes, but literally within the first 5 possessions that he was in, he gets 2 offensive rebounds, and we score twice off of both of those offensive rebounds, and he guarded one, between Concher and Bryson Scott. He was always guarding one of those two guys, and thought he brought tremendous energy for us on that end of the floor. We really didn't get any production out of our bench against North Dakota State. We had tremendous production out of our bench against Fort Wayne, and that was the big difference.
And Nick Fuller was another guy, 6 points, 4 rebounds for you off the bench.
Yeah, Fuller was really good. You know what you're going to get out of him every night. He made some huge plays for us. Then he got in some foul trouble. Both him and Trey Birch-Manning both had 4 fouls throughout that second half. So, but I thought Nick was really good. Had some key finishes when we were making a big-time run on him in the second half, and I thought defended very, very well. And so it's a new transition for him, playing as much as he is, and then you're going through the league for the first time, and you're traveling to different places and the whole thing. And so I thought he was good. I thought Austin Sparks, again, didn't play a ton of minutes, but it was excellent defensively, defending their big guy inside. And then Logan Power, who hasn't seen the floor for quite some time. I believe he only played 3 minutes, but Logan's just one of those guys that you can put him in there during certain moments, and you know exactly what you're gonna get out of him.
So not only did you limit them from the three-point line, you also turned them over 16 times as well, and so more possessions for your club.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we do. Both these teams, they were leading the league at 7.5 steals per game, and we were second, I believe, just over 5.5, 5.7 or something like that. And fortunately for us, we were able to turn them over that way. And it wasn't, we pressed a little bit. I think we forced 2 turnovers off our press, but it really wasn't the press. It was just good position defense, just being in the. I heard Gus Bradley say one time, who used to be the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and he and I worked together at North Dakota State, and he said the biggest thing on defense in the NFL is you got to be in the right position. Mm-hmm. When you're in the right position, you can stop people, and that's how you turn people over. And I think it's the same in basketball. Just by being in the right position, great things can happen for you on the defensive end. And I think that was a big reason we were able to turn them over, and a big reason we were able to limit them from the three.
And it seems like every time we talk, Craig, we get around to free throw shooting at some point, and when you're going to go scoreless from the floor for the last 5-11, you got to make free throws to win.
You do, and you know, we were I thought it was a great officiated game. We had some really good officials that night, some guys that do a lot of Big Ten stuff, and it was just good flow to the game. But, you know, I was getting a little frustrated because we had more fouls than them. And Bryson Scott leads the country in free throws attempted. And so, I mean, so he naturally puts a lot of pressure on you. But the first half, Jeff, very uncharacteristic of us, we only shot 2 free throws, and those 2 free throws were off of a technical foul that one of their players had. And so Mooney made both of those. And then, obviously, the second half, I mean, we got to the line a lot more. And for the most part, we're able to convert.
So let's talk about this week. You got Oral Roberts on Wednesday. This is a young team. They start 4 sophomores and a freshman. It's kind of showing up so far as they try to figure out who they are. They're on the road for the 3rd straight game. But this is a club that gets up and down the floor.
Yeah, they do. They're sneaky good in transition. They're humongous. So they have a Big Ten front line, and I know they're starting the 4 sophomores and a freshman, but Albert Young, who's a returning, or Albert Owens, who's a returning all-conference player, usually comes off the bench within the first 2 or 3 minutes of the game, and he's a force. I mean, he's a second-team all-league guy, and he's 6'10" or whatever he is, and he's a dominant guy inside. But you know, their starting 3-man was the freshman of the year last year, Emmanuel. I can never say his last name.
Nezakwazi.
There we go.
Yeah,
and he's 6'8", 230.
Yeah,
and then Javon White is 6'10", 230. And then they start Chris Miller at 6'8", 255, and then Owens comes in at 6'9", 250. So they literally have a Big Ten front line. They just smash people on the offensive boards. Like you said, they're good in transition. They got a couple guards that can really make some plays. And they started out the league 3-0, and then they, of course, you know, going to South Dakota State and losing by 3, and had an opportunity to I think they turned it over on the last possession, so they didn't get a shot off. But to have an opportunity to win at Frost Arena is not easy to do. And then you know, obviously lost at North Dakota State. So they're coming in here, and we're going to have to play really, really tough-minded and sound basketball. And then the other thing they do, Jeff, that's so different than our conference, is they play zone for 40 minutes. And they're going to have a little token 1-2-2 press at times, but they just sit back in the zone, and boy, they really protect the paint well, and they got those 3 guys sitting back there on the back line. Their head coach is Paul Mills, who's a first-year head coach, and he came from Baylor. And, of course, that's what Baylor always does. They're always humongous at the 3, 4, and 5, and they get a couple playmakers at the guard, and they sit in zone. So it'll be a unique challenge, to say the least.
You mentioned the length of this team, Craig, the size of this team. I mean, watching Chris Miller against South Dakota State, and this is a big kid, and he's tough to move him off the block, and when he gets positioned inside, he's a tough player to defend. He's
humongous. I mean, he looks like a left tackle.
Yeah.
He's just wide, tall. I think against North Dakota State as well, he was 3 for 3 early on, getting deep post catches and score, and he really hurt us at their place, I believe it was, last year, where we just didn't have an answer for him. And that's what they do. They just smash the ball inside almost every possession. They'll try to run on you, and if they don't get it, they literally just walk the ball out, and they run one of their, you know, they got about a bajillion different sets. And they just go into one of their sets, and they throw it up there, and if they miss it, then a lot of times their best shot is just an offensive rebound. You know, I mean, I was an assistant at Colorado State when they had Kawhi Leonard, who was their 3-man, and Billy White, and Malcolm Thomas, and all 3 of those guys were, of course, Kawhi Leonard was a lottery pick. The other 2 guys were second-round NBA picks, and it was like volleyball. They would throw up any shot, and their best shot was just a missed shot. They'd go get it and score it. And they remind me a lot of what these guys do. And so we're going to have to be really, really good on the defensive boards and really do our best to eliminate second-chance opportunities. And then we're going to have to make some shots against their zone.
And then Saturday at Omaha, and boy, do they have some holes to fill. No Marcus Tyus, no Trayshawn Thurman, no Tradeon Hollins. And so you've got guys like Zach Jackson who have really stepped up and picked up some of the scoring slack.
Yeah, and both of these teams, Oral Roberts and Omaha, their record is certainly not indicative of how they're playing right now. They've had a very difficult non-conference schedule, played a bunch of high major teams, and on the road. And so Omaha just had a great win, went on the road and just thumped Western Illinois on Thursday, same night we beat Fort Wayne, and then they lost to Fort Wayne by 4 at Fort Wayne. And so we couldn't see two more polar opposite teams in the same week when you look at Oral Roberts and Omaha. Omaha is just going to be man-to-man in your shorts. There's times they'll switch 1 through 5 ball screens. They're going to pressure and deny. They want to play up-tempo. They want to play fast. Zach Jackson, like you said, is playing great basketball. They shoot a ton of threes. They throw it in the post a little bit, but not a ton. And so it's just, two just completely different teams. And honestly, we've lost the last 2 years at Omaha, and we've been a pretty good road team over the years. So it'll be a tough week. That is going to present a lot of challenges, but we're excited to get back and playing again, in particular, starting on Wednesday night at home.
And for an up-tempo team, they actually take pretty good care of the basketball. Second fewest turnovers in the league so far, and Daniel Norrell really takes care of the basketball.
Yeah, he's a good player. He's a guy that can do a lot of different things with the ball, and that's what they do. They play they basically start 4 guards, because I forget the kid's name that's out for the year with the shoulder issue. But they basically play 4 guards all the time with their 5-man in there, and they set a ton of ball screens. And Norrell's having a great year. Jackson's having a very good year. The KJ Robinson kid I think he's been hurt, so he's been out, but now he's just coming back. Who's had some big games for him this year as well. JT Gibson shoots the ball really, really well. It's a 2-guard position, and so they got a lot of different guys that are very capable of making shots. And so same type of thing like we did against Fort Wayne. We're going to have to do a great job in transition defense and really going to have to guard their drivers because they love to drive it and kick it, drive it and kick it, drive it and kick it. And so it's going to be kind of a similar type of game plan.